Did anyone actually read through the entire book, whether in one sitting or in multiple sittings?
Yeah,
Halfway.
I got halfway.
Halfway. What's halfway? Like chapter 11?
No, past that. Where was I?
15, 16, 18?
After the seventh angel does the seal.
Oh, the seal judgments. Okay, so that'd be chapter 7 or 8.
No, but I
Really? Okay. Oh,
I did the audio version.
what's that?
I did the audio version.
The audio.
Audio.
Oh, audio version. Oh, you had it read to you. Did you hear it all the way through?
Yeah, while I'm editing, I'm listening to it.
Oh.
But it did say blessed is all who hear.
That's right. They're not, in the beginning, a lot of people couldn't read, so to hear, you
Read
get the
and
same
hear.
blessing. What were some of the big picture ideas, main ideas, or aha moments you had, those of you who read some part or all of it? I'm just curious to know. When you read it, what oh, I didn't know that, or wow, that's in there, or what the heck does that mean? Yes,
One
Libby.
for me was that Jesus makes it very clear that he is the active focus and the agent of the book. Like you could start reading, and it's I, John. So for me, it doesn't really matter who wrote it, who the author was, because it's Jesus speaking.
Through him, yes.
Yes, directly to John, to speak these words, to write these words.
Yes.
To speak these words. And then kind of in a sense, John is almost like a pastor.
Yes.
Yeah,
He isn't kind of, he is.
he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sort of a pastoral.
Yes. And you get that even more so when you read 1 John, 2 John, and 3 John.
What was that? Can you repeat what you said?
She said he acts like a pastor in his mediation of this book to the people to whom he's writing, which is true. And scholars have maintained that the reason why it was given to him is because the first church that's mentioned is the church of Ephesus. And tradition tells us that he was the pastor of the church of Ephesus around the time of Domitian. Though Paul founded the church, he ended up being its pastor long after Paul had died. And after Timothy was martyred, he took over. And in fact, to this day, you can go to the basilica, the ruined basilica in Ephesus, and the tomb of St. John, the apostle, is there, because that's where he's buried. Yes. So he is a pastor, definitely of the Ephesian church. But is he a bishop over these other 7 churches? Very likely. Very likely. So you might say that Ephesus was the cathedral, and the other churches were like under his authority. You could say that. Rebecca, you had your hand up.
2 things that jumped out at me. One, that chapter 4 was completely the Mass. And singing Holy, Holy, Holy. Mentioning the 4 symbols of the Gospels. So, and then in chapter 2, verse 6, it was interesting that it says, "Yet this you have, you hate the words of the Nicolaitans."
Yes.
Or Nicolaitans?
Nicolaitans.
Nicolaitans, okay. Which I also hate. So, again, you hate the sin, but you still love the sinner. It's,
Yes.
They hate the works.
Very good. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Anyone else?
I like the part that I was wondering, and when God told John not to write the last vision, so it gives me wondering.
When the 7 thunders spoke, He was about to write what they said, and God said, no, don't write them, seal them up. We don't know what they said. And there's no point in speculating what they said because there's nothing to be said about them. And the way I identify that is very similar to how Our Lady spoke to Bernadette in Lourdes. She gave her many messages that she passed on to the crowds. But when she was interrogated or grilled by the church officials, for authenticity, they would ask her, have you revealed everything that Our Lady said to you? And she goes, no. She goes, and you go, well, what else did she say? And she goes, there were some things that she said were only for me. She never revealed, she never wrote them down. We have no idea what Our Lady said to her. But there were some things that were only meant for her. That's what I think happened there. The voice of the seven thunders that spoke were something that perhaps only John was meant to know. And that was it. He mentions it, and then that's it. Yeah.
This is sort of more personal, but the first time I read the book of Revelations, the whole thing was 3 years ago, just before I converted.
Oh.
And I just remember, being really confused and kind of scared and in despair after I read the book, because I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to end really. But now, I guess, being a little bit deeper in my faith, I came out of it with feeling a little bit more light than I did the first time, and feeling more full of hope than I did the first time I read it. So that was interesting.
Good. Can you be more specific as to what part of it gave you hope?
I guess just the fact that, yes, we have to work to prepare for Christ's coming, and even if you think about it as this end of the world thing,
Right.
it's still, for those who believe and for those who repent and those who do the works of Christ, it's actually hopeful for those people. It's not just, death and pain upon everybody. It's
Right.
so.
Okay. Was it, and so you make up a very good point, was anyone really put off or frightened or just really kind of stunned about all of the imagery, all the judgments that were falling in there? Yes, I saw a meat can. Yeah. You thought it was exciting. Oh. Like, bring it on, more judgment.
It's like when the rivers turn to blood.
Oh, the rivers turn to blood. Yes. That does sound familiar. What does it sound like?
Moses.
Exodus. Who turned the rivers into blood? Moses. Was there anything else in there that sounded familiar like that?
I have a whole list.
You have a okay? Tell me a few.
Jesus appearing as a lamb, tribes of Israel, promise to Abraham, temple, Last Supper, Sodom and Egypt, Ark of the Covenant, plagues, Mary and Jesus, 42 months, 666, Babylon falling, manna, Jezebel,
Wow.
and volume 1.
Where do you get all of those images from?
Throughout the Bible.
What part?
Old
The Old Testament. So here's a little hint as we move into this. How do you think we're going to understand any of this? You have to know your Old Testament. It makes no sense to you if you jump into this and you have not had a I would say a very good background in the Old Testament, because all of this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And you have to understand to whom this vision was given. These were given to early Christian churches. Yes, they had a lot of Gentile believers, but also had still a large Jewish population within. Jews would hear this. What do you think they thought?
It's all familiar.
It's all from the Old Testament. It's like, I know Jezebel, I know the manna, I know the Ark of the Covenant, I know the temple, I know the witnesses, I know the plagues. And we talk about rivers to blood. What other plagues were mentioned that stand out?
Locusts,
Locusts. What else?
hailstorm,
Hail. Scorpions.
The covering of the sun.
Darkness. Where do we see all of that happening?
Moses.
Moses. Do you think that might be a clue? Nah, just coincidence, right?
No.
No. See, what I'm getting at in a very subtle way is to say that when you read all of this, you go, what does this mean? What does this mean? I think, particularly in our modern times, but the first thing we want to do is say, when is it going to happen, and when are we going to see the locusts and the plagues and the hail and the darkness? Right? And I think we miss the point by being too literal about these types of elements within the book. If we get so stuck with when is the sky going to turn dark? When is the moon going to turn to blood? When are the stars going to fall from heaven? When are the locusts going to be released out of the abyss? When is the hail going to be 100 pounds falling from the sky? You know? Then it's like, then we're taking a view that most evangelicals nowadays are looking forward to. What do you mean? Remember when I said the four interpretive views? Preterists, historicists, idealists, and futurists? The futurists look at this book and says all of this is going to happen in the future. So this is not something that we need to concern ourselves about. This is all going to happen in the future. And that the whole book is just describing what the end of the world is going to be like when God puts all these plagues. Okay? I think that's too literal. I think that's a too literalistic view. Because otherwise, what meaning or purpose did it have for the people that first read it? Because none of that happened. It didn't happen for generations. It hasn't happened yet. It still has yet to happen. So it's like, what are we doing? Just waiting for everything to just, unravel like a cheap sweater? What's the purpose of this then? There's got to be a better, deeper, more pertinent meaning. Yes, Ralph?
Quick question. As Catholic, we don't believe in the rapture, right?
No.
How did that come about?
Oh, I'm gonna, if I have time today, I know this issue of the rapture will come up because it's a very popular view. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna table the whole idea for right now. If we have time at the end, I'll go over it. I know we're gonna talk about the rapture. If you don't know what the rapture is, don't worry about it. But it's something that you hear nowadays, believe it or not, on the Discovery Channel. Talk about it. You hear it on all the TV preachers.
Co-workers.
I remember back in the 80s, when I was in high school, there were bumper stickers. Beware, this car will be unmanned during the rapture. There were bumper stickers about this. There was a whole best-selling series of books called Left Behind. That later became Christian movies with Kirk Cameron. If you've never seen them, Google them. They're called Left Behind. Okay? It's all based on this Christian evangelical idea of the rapture.